you propose.
Can you guys move back a bit, please?
Either you have a brute fact, or you have a necessary existence. All right. Now, what I would say to you is fine. If you agree with me that you can have a brute fact, or you can have a necessary existence, that's all we need from you. Thank you very much. The conversation is over, because you know what? Yes.
Go on, you just over here.
I'm happy. You agree with that's possible, yes?
Go on, just carry on.
Okay, the reason why the conversation is over is because when you say there's a brute fact and that all of existence is explained through that brute fact could never, listen very carefully, very important, this is my expansion now.
Yeah.
This is my expansion. I will say to you, look, the brute fact and or, for the sake of argument, let's say, the brute fact, all the necessary existence. Either of those things, number one, can never fail to exist. Very important. You agree?
No.
Okay, now you're gonna go against every philosopher in the world. If you disagree with this, all you're gonna do, no, hold on. A brute fact by definition, or a necessary existence by definition, can never fail to exist.
I do.
Okay, give me your proof. Because let me explain.
Well, you have to prove.
Okay, fine. Because definitions are important, paramount here.
Okay.
A necessary existence is something which can never be otherwise. Can never be
A
otherwise.
necessary thing.
Yeah.
Can never be otherwise.
So in other words,
I agree with
the
that,
opposite, the opposite of a necessary existence is a contingent existence.
Yeah.
So a contingent thing is something which is dependent, whereas a necessary thing which is something which is independent.
Agree.
Which means if it's independent, it doesn't require anything else for it to be.
Okay.
So, okay, it's always been there, it doesn't require anything else for it to be, and it's the explanation for everything else that is in existence. That's what we call God.
No, that isn't what you
Yes,
mean.
yes, it
No,
is.
it isn't. No,
Yes,
that's
it is,
not
yeah.
true.
Is there
Okay,
any-
let me respond
yes.
to that.
Please.
Let me respond to that. Okay.
Please.
Okay, so first off, it's completely false to just say that God is something that's necessarily existence and that's God. Because some people have argued that the laws of physics necessarily exist, and that is all you need to refer to explain the universe.
Okay.
Now, there's nothing else. It's just the laws of physics and things, that are described by them.
Do you believe that laws of physics
Right,
actually
hang on.
exist?
Some people do. Some
Do you
people
believe that?
I'm agnostic about it. I mean, it depends what you mean by exist.
Are they physical? Are they something you can put under a
Well, you
microscope?
can't touch a law of physics, but
Fine.
they could have an ontological status. That
Do
is,
they have a cosmological status?
what do you mean by have a cosmological
Can they be
status?
put under a microscope?
You can certainly examine the laws of physics, but you can't put them under a
Fine,
microscope.
so they don't exist.
You can't say something doesn't exist because you can't put it under a microscope. I can't put dark matter under a
I'm
microscope,
asking
but that
you,
doesn't
I'm
mean it
asking-
doesn't exist.
I'm asking you.
Well, my answer is you can't infer something that doesn't exist because you can't put it under a microscope.
Okay, fine.
That isn't the definition
No,
of
I
how
wouldn't
we define things.
disagree. I wouldn't
Let me
disagree.
just.
I wouldn't disagree. Go ahead.
So it could be. No, generally people understand God to be a person, right? Who is free will, and it also generally seems to have other properties such as omnipotence, omniscience, omnibenevolence, justice, things like that.
Yes.
So it's just not true at all to say that if there is something necessary, that's God.
Okay,
certainly.
can I counteract it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I agree with you.
Okay, good.
In the sense that
Yeah.
I'm not saying to you that is a necessary being is an exhaustive description of what God is. But it is a basic description of what God is according to the narrative of Islam. And I'll give you the evidence, the textual evidence for that. So for us, the most foundational chapter of the Quran is Surah Al-Ikhlas, chapter 112, that describes who God is. And this is how he describes it. Okay, or this is how he's described.
So do you have the?
But just concentrate with me, please. No.
I just want to check your.
Come on.
Right, okay, sorry. Right, so what's the verse?
Chapter 112.
Do you want to find it?
Yep.
Okay, let's okay, go ahead.
Can you read it out for me, please? Since you've troubled me enough to.
Okay.
This one. Yeah.
Okay, in the name of God, merciful of all, compassionate to each, say, He is God, unique, God, Lord supreme, nothing begotten nor begotten, and none can be His peer. Okay? It doesn't say anything about necessity there, as far as I can see. It just says He is not begotten, right?
Okay, fine.
Yeah, but that's not the same as necessary.
No, hold on.
That isn't the same thing.
Philip, now you're going to come into theology, and it's not going to be. Let me explain what the Quran says, yeah?
Well, we've just read it together.
No. Don't worry. You've read the English translation according to who is it?
Has Phil finished his point though?
Tariq Khalid.
Finish your point.
Khalid.
Well, okay, so to finish my point,
Yeah. He has finished his point.
well, let me just.
You've just given him a.
Well, my point is that necessary. You know, if God is necessary, it doesn't follow that a necessary thing is God. Just like God is a person, but that doesn't mean a person is just because we've established that people exist, we've established God exists, right? We think that God has free will, but it doesn't follow that if we find a person with free will, that therefore God exists. So you can't just name a quality that you think God has, and then say, we've established God. I mean, you were like, the debate is over, we've established necessity.
Can I explain? Okay, thank you very much. We agree, we're at this point in the stage where we agree that you can have a brute fact and you can have a necessary existence, and that necessary existence of that brute fact, by definition, has to be eternal, which means it cannot ever be out of existence, because if it's out of existence, then it's contingent. It has to be independent, which means that it's not dependent on anything else in order for it to exist. It's one thing because it's a brute fact or a necessary existence, and also we said before, in that sense, it's eternal, right? So it's always there. This is our basic. I'm telling you what we're saying. Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Say He is God one and only. He's one. Allahu samad, the one which everything depends upon, and He depends upon nothing. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. He's not begotten, or he doesn't beget, nor is He begotten. Meaning He's not the child of anyone, nor is He. Yeah. And another part of the Quran it says Huwa al-awwal wal akhir, which means that He's the first and the last. Meaning He's pre-eternal and post-eternal. Wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad, meaning that there's nothing like He's unique. Now, if you look at this, is our basic understanding of God. We're not saying it's an exhaustive understanding of the description of God. But if you understand this, and I think you have, and you've acknowledged it, Phil, okay? We've acknowledged now that you can actually, it's the only way of reasonably explaining why why existence exists. Because there has to be, because of the existence of a brute fact, which is eternal and independent, and with all those qualities that we've talked about, and explains everything else in creation, and if you want to call it a necessary existence. So what I'm saying is that this is all we need to get someone away from atheism. I'm not saying, and here's what I'm saying very clearly, I agree with you, Phil, that I'm not arguing for the logical possibility, of proving God's mercy, or proving God's love, or the fact that He's personal. I agree with you, Phil, that you cannot do that from first principles.
Okay, good.
So, but what I'm saying, very important, I agree with that, I've always said this, it's consistent. But what I'm saying is, at what point, it's a question, at what point do we move away from atheism and move to a deism, the like of which Albert Einstein believes? At the point,
was not a deist. He was a pantheist.
It's
not the same thing.
Look, listen. A pantheist believes in the existence. Well, it's not contradictory. You can believe a pantheist deist. You can.
But they're not the same.
I'm not saying that no one said that they're the same thing, but I'm saying that he was a deist in the sense that he believed in an impersonal God. Now, the thing is, I'm not trying to convince you of theism. I'm just trying to show you that atheism is impossible. Do you understand this point? Now, the secondary thing, if I were to have a different discussion with you now, and those other qualities of God, those other ones, mercy and love, etc., I will tell you candidly, that we affirm them because of the logical, what we would say, the evidentiary veracity of the Quranic discourse. So ipso facto, because the Quran says it, we believe in it. But because we've had to come to the belief that the Quran is the divine inspired word of God through other arguments, which are not strictly from first principles logical arguments, we have been convinced of that as well. But the idea that atheism, because atheism is a postulation that you don't agree with deism. Atheism and deism are not contradictory. Atheism and deism are contradictory belief systems. What I'm saying is, atheism, the idea that we're here not as a result of some deity or something which explains everything else in existence. That's an impossible belief system.
That's not what atheism. Okay, all right.
Go ahead, please, sir.
Okay. So that isn't what atheism asserts. So first off, we haven't established that necessary things exist. We have not established it. That's just an assertion. It could be there are no such things as necessary anything. Okay? We haven't asserted that. Now, let's suppose we have established that there is something that's necessary. It could just be that the universe is necessary. And that does not conflict with atheism. Atheism is not the assertion that there's no necessary things. That's not what atheism says. It says that there's no God. And when we, of course, we define what we mean by God. Okay? If you define God as the laws of physics, as Einstein did, well, that's not a personal
I don't
belief.
think Einstein was not. I don't think he
did. He very specifically said that he didn't believe in a personal God.
Yeah,
now, you
didn't
said he was a
say-
deist,
yeah.
and you were just making it. Now, deism is not the assertion about whether God is personal or not. God can be personal and just no. Deism is the assertion that God does not intervene in the world. Okay? Once the God creates the world, he doesn't intervene. He doesn't listen to prayers. He doesn't do miracles.
According to what definition? If you don't mind?
Look up any definition of deism.
Can we do that?
Go
Can someone
for it.
get me a definition of deism, please?
Feel free.
No, because before he makes it, let's just not waste time with it. Can someone write deist in a dictionary?
Okay,
Yeah.
better to look at it in a philosophical.
Because he's going to be dogmatic about it if we don't give him the evidence.
Deism, okay, fine, look it up. Right, deism, as I understand it, is the assertion that the creator of the universe does not intervene in the universe.
Okay, well, let's see if
Okay,
that's right.
so it could be personal, may or may not be personal. I think it could be personal, and you could still
Well,
be a
let's see if
deist.
your definition
And in
is correct.
fact, most of the idea of deism was popular in the 18th century.
Has everyone got it?
Yeah. Go on. Why don't you go on Wikipedia?
No. Get it from Oxford or something. Or Oxford or Cambridge dictionary.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, the point is, the important point is that if we accept that there are necessary things,
anyone got
it
it?
could be that the laws of physics are necessary, that the universe exists necessarily, and therefore that does not conflict with atheism, and it offers no support to theism at all, because theism is the assertion generally. I think most, certainly the main Abrahamic case, claim that God is not just a necessary being, but he's a personal being, a being with free will, and a being that has omni-properties, such as omniscience, omnipresence, and so on. And none of that is established by saying that there's a necessary being, which we haven't even established.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's get a definition of deism first of all.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Also, you said from Oxford, right? Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, then we can do closing statements. Yeah.
Get the Oxford
Okay, let's look up deism. Okay.
by Oxford or something.
Yeah, fine.
Or Cambridge, like one of the main
Fine.
but it was a learner's dictionary. I wanted the normal one.
I mean, I think it's better to go to a philosophical discussion.
Yeah, or even that.
Because
even that.
dictionaries, they're just,
Fine.
Here we go. Right, Oxford Learner Dean.
No,
Deism.
not learner.
Deism.
No. Don't get a learner's
Oxford.
one. Don't get a normal one.
Okay. Well, this is the first thing that pops up. Let's start with that.
No. Get a
Hang
normal
on.
dictionary.
Belief in God, especially a God that created the universe but does not take part in it.
Fine, that means impersonal.
Which is, it doesn't mean impersonal. You could be I could be a person and not take part in your life.
Fine.
It doesn't mean it's impersonal.
No problem. Are you
doesn't
finished?
mean
Are you
that
done?
at all.
Are you done?
Now you wanted the OED.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Good.
Yeah.
Alright, so fine.
Yeah.
So if you're saying intervene, what do you mean by intervene? Just so I can
It doesn't do miracles, doesn't listen to
Perfect.
prayers.
No problem. No problem.
That's generally what we
No
understand
problem.
deism
No
to
problem.
be.
No problem. So the base, you agree that deism and atheism are two different things.
They're different, yeah, of course.
You can't be a deist atheist,
No.
and you can't be an atheist deist.
No.
Okay,
But
so-
I would say that atheists and deists will live their lives in the same way.
No,
because
don't
both
go-
of them
that's-
believe
that's
they
it.
have things in common, which is that there's no God listening to
but
prayers,
I'm not asking-
no God's telling you how to
No, but
live.
Philip,
so what's
that's
really
not the question.
practical? No, but it's the most important
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Because why do we care about whether religion is true or not?
Yeah,
because
okay.
it affects how we live our lives. Now, deism and atheism,
Yeah.
they're both going to live their lives the same.
Agreed.
So they
No,
have a
hold
lot
on.
in common in
It
some
might not be the
sense.
case. You can't really make a sociological case. We're talking about, look,
Well, I'm talking
on
about
a
things that are
philosophical...
important.
Philip, please. Deism and atheism are two different things. Deists would say that something allowed the universe to exist where it didn't exist. Whereas an atheist might not say this, right? There's a difference in that. Now, this thing we call God, a deist will say God exists, okay? This is fundamental. A deist's understanding of God could be the universe. You said the universe has necessary existence. A deist would...
I didn't say it had an essence, I said
It could be. You know, that could be the case. The point is this, is that the moment you say there's a necessary existence, or that there is a brute fact, which is independent, eternal, and which allows everything else to exist, you have left atheism.
That's just not true. That's just
You're saying it's not true.
No, it's not true.
But what I'm saying is, you're saying it's not true. But what I'm saying is, it is true according to... You're saying it's not true. But I'm saying, look, what kind of atheist believes, okay, that there's something that brought the universe into existence, brought everything else into existence, is independent, is eternal, is free from needs. Okay, sorry.
Right, so let's take Palenque.
No, hold on.
Where is
You've
the laws
spoken
of physics?
Sorry, Philip, you have spoken for a long time. I think now, because you're at the stage where you realize that when we've exhausted all the options, that in fact, what we require is a necessary existence, or in your understanding, a brute fact. There's no other options that you've actually given us which are coherent, which is one unique, eternal, independent, and everything relies upon it for its existence. In that understanding, I'm sorry, Philip, whether you like it or not, you have left atheism. Whether you like it or not, sorry, I'm really sorry. Atheism and atheists cannot make those claims. That there is, listen carefully, what kind of atheist would say that there is an independent, eternal existence which explains all other existences? Now, to summarize, if you want to say that, and you want to call that atheism, or you want to say that's conceivable, and that's atheism, I will say you have definitely gotten your definitions mixed up. You have definitely gotten, I mean, why not even, if you're saying I'm not sure, then you've become agnostic. If you're saying the deism, then you've left atheism. At any rate, in this discussion, what has not been shown is that atheism has anything to offer at all in regards to what? In regards to showing us how we exist as we are. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So the point is, it's actually been, in this discussion, Philip, me and you have ruled out atheism. And we've crossed it, we have crossed off atheism as a legitimate option. In order for you to bring atheism back, this is what I'm going to say, what you have to do in your closing statement, to bring atheism back to life, if you like, because it's not God, what Nietzsche said? God is dead or something, is it what he said? Nietzsche said
Nietzsche said God is dead.
God is dead. But I think today we've killed atheists, because, let me tell you now, in order for us to bring atheism back to life, you're going to have to show me how it's conceivable, logically, listen to me carefully, this is what you have to do. You have to show me how it's conceivable logically, that we can explain our existence without reference to a necessary existence, without reference to a so-called brute fact which requires no existence in and of itself, which is eternal, independent, and explains all other existence. Because you and I actually agree, Philip. So you have to tell me how, in your worldview, which is an atheistic worldview, how it's possible that you can even explain existence without reference to all of those things which, in my understanding, are religious concepts, which we as Muslims affirm as the foundational understanding of God.
Okay, that's his closing statement, and you're going to have your closing statement.
Yes.
Was that not his closing statement?
Also,
That sounded like a closing statement to me.
What he said.
Right? I can't. Okay, so first off, back to deism and what it means. Here's Oxford reference. Belief in a God who created the universe but does not govern worldly events, does not answer prayers, and has no direct involvement in human affairs. That's it. That's the definition. Okay? It doesn't say anything at all about whether it's personal or not personal, okay, or necessary or not necessary. So if now Alex Malenkin, who is himself an atheist, atheism is the rejection in the assertion that God exists. Now we have to define what we mean by God. And what the problem is, you're defining God so loosely that we're having a meaningless conversation here. Right? God is generally understood to be a person, a personal being.
We don't say that as Muslims.
Right? Yes. I mean, okay, God has all these properties: omniscience, omnipresence, omnibenevolence. Okay, you can't just say God equals anything that's necessary. Okay. Now, there are some people, like Alex Malenkin is a scientist who asserts that the laws of physics, they are basically the ultimate explanation for why the universe exists. And you can certainly imagine that the laws of physics are necessary. And there was a paper recently arguing that the laws of physics have to be the way they are. They couldn't be any other way. They're unnecessary. Now, these are impersonal things. They are not omnipotent. They are not omniscient. They don't have knowledge. They don't have any knowledge, let alone infinite knowledge. Right? They're nothing like God. Okay? So if you were to take that view, and I'm not saying I'm endorsing that view, it's just one proposal, right? It's absolutely not religious view. It's not. It's perfectly compatible with atheism. Atheism is just saying, I don't believe in God. Okay. So I agree that atheism doesn't explain the universe. It's not trying to explain the universe, right? It's saying I reject a particular explanation, and that's common in science. In science, we use something called a null hypothesis. So when someone proposes something new, you compare it against what's called a null hypothesis, which is saying I don't believe whatever you're proposing. Well, let's compare the two. Which fits better, okay? The God hypothesis, right, is rejected by the atheist, but that doesn't mean the atheist has an explanation. I don't have an explanation for the ultimate cause of the universe. I don't know, okay? And I think we're better off accepting that we don't know, because we don't know, right? Right? So, I've got to agnosticism, my understanding, so if we look at the Greek words, Gnosticism, Gnostic, it means knowledge, okay? And atheism is refers to belief. So agnostic is someone that doesn't know, and an atheist is someone that doesn't believe. I personally would say I'm both. I don't think they're contradictory. Now, words, of course, we have to understand, can change their meaning. And when you look up words in dictionaries, they often have multiple definitions. Okay, so some people might define an agnostic as someone who's 50-50 as to the existence of God. Oh, I would just think it's 50-50 odds. I don't think it's 50-50 odds. So I would say in some sense, I'm not an agnostic if you define it as someone that thinks God exists 50-50.
You know that you
right?
don't know.
But I would say I don't know. I don't know the ultimate cause of the universe. I don't think anyone does.
You know that you don't know.
Right? Well, that's my understanding of my current state of knowledge.
You see there's no contradiction there.
No, there's no contradiction. Don't be silly. Right? What we're saying is.
Why?
What we're saying is.
But if you say I don't know, is that not a statement of knowledge?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, good. So you do know.
It doesn't. That's my knowledge. That's meta knowledge. What we're talking about is not meta knowledge. We're talking about do we know the ultimate origin of the universe? And the answer is we don't know. Nobody does, and we're not going to deduce it just by sitting on our asses and thinking about it. No one's ever been successful with that. There's no evidence that there is anything necessary, and even if there was something necessary, it could just be the universe or the laws of physics. There's nothing to say that it's a personal being that cares about our lives and answers prayers, and so I think it's perfectly reasonable to say I don't accept those assertions and therefore be an atheist. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Brilliant. If you guys want to carry on the conversation, you can. And then go home and start. Right. Thank you very much, you guys have done.
Well, I think that's a very good discussion. Thank you very much. All right, salam alaikum.
See, already I told you you're coming in closer. Now you're ready, man. Alright, I'm gonna go.
Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters. Hope this video was helpful for you. This may help others too, so please consider sharing, and we will bring more videos in the future inshallah. So consider subscribing and you won't miss any. Jazakallahu khairan.